Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Konecktnow.com's Take 3. We're here today with Roopam Panchani. She is an organizational psychologist working in the field of human resources. She's going to take us through her journey about how she got into the field, what some of the challenges and opportunities there are in the field, as well as any advice she would give to someone considering a career in organizational psychology. So let's begin. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I wanted to ask about organizational psychology. Not a lot of people know what that is, especially in this context. So if you could tell our viewers, what is organizational psychology all about?
Okay, so organizational psychology basically is using psychology, knowledge of psychology at the workplace.
Okay.
A lot of people tend to believe psychology is all about people with mental illnesses. They don't tend to realize it's just about improving the general mental well-being of individuals.
Okay.
We're talking about stress, happiness, we're talking about depression, that the dynamics of work keep on changing, stress keeps on happening, conflict keeps on happening, people get bored of their jobs. That's where organizational psychology comes up.
Okay.
We're talking about stress management, making your physical work environment better, things that people want to wake up and say, okay, I need to go to work.
What are some of the programs that companies should be putting in place to reduce the stress levels at work in this context, if they haven't done so already?
So definitely one of the best, I think, programs we can do is what we call employee assistance programs. So this is it's a very holistic approach of managing stress at workplace, but we don't realize home problems are brought to work. So when we have employee assistance programs, these are programs whereby you go to your employees, understand what their problems at work are and problems at home are. Of course, when they're work problems, you have more control as an employer to manage them.
Okay.
But when it comes to home problems, you might not go and solve their problems, but understand their problems and guide them to the correct direction when it comes to these problems that they're facing.
So with that, what are some of the challenges and opportunities in the field of organizational psychology?
Okay, so challenges, if you look at it from when you start a student's perspective, you're not going to get a master's or bachelor's in organizational psychology in Kenya.
Okay.
So I guess over here the problem is education of it. It means if you want to do probably you'd start off with an undergraduate in psychology and a master's in organizational psychology, and you have to move out of the country.
Okay.
And the other thing is that once you have graduated, or even after, like if I decided I wanted a job in organizational psychology, I wouldn't just Google jobs of organizational psychology in Kenya. I am not going to get anything. Okay. So it's like you're not going to get a direct path to your job. Okay. No employer is going to advertise for an organizational psychologist. Organizational psychology is a very umbrella term in terms of what you can do. Okay. There is like training in organizations. We're talking about counseling in organizations. We're talking about skill development, organizational development. So those are the kind of jobs that people tend to look out for, that they want somebody who's doing organizational development or training, and that's how you tend to diversify and get your job. Yes.
Okay. So in closing, what advice would you give to somebody who's considering a career in organizational psychology?
You need to understand how to sell your skills. That's, I guess, very important. You need to not just look out for one employee, like one direction when it comes to what you can possibly do, the opportunities. You need to be very think outside the box when you decide what you want to do. Because there's so many opportunities available. It's not a straight line. But the lines, you have to look for the lines, right? And I think also it's very important that you need to identify a mentor who has done something similar to what you want to do.
Okay.
in the field. This is because there's a lot of there is some difference between the practitioner and the research.
Right.
So the skills you get when you study are as important as the skills you'll get from somebody who has practiced things, who has a lot of experience when it comes to dealing with people at the workplace.
Okay.
So when you connect your knowledge from education plus your knowledge from experience, that is very important.
Okay.
I would advise anybody, not just in psychology or occupational psychology, but when you're planning to do studies outside, look for scholarship opportunities.
Okay.
You'll be surprised as how generous so many international universities are, and the scholarships really go a long way.
Thank you so much for joining us, Roopam, and thank you for joining us here at Konecktnow.com. See you soon.